Evelyn's had a breakthrough today. And Evelyn, thank you for everything that you're sharing with us, and for all of you who are here in this spectacular group of esteemed people. I am just so glad to be here with you. I'm John Lavenia, in case you didn't already know. This is our Success Mastermind group, live on Monday, the 25th of January. 25th. That's an auspicious day. What is that? Something's happening today, or something's happening around that day. I do want to say happy birthday to a few people, right? Top of mind. I know one of our facilitators, Jamie Young, just turned, I don't know how many years. I think it
Mhm.
starts with does it start with a 5 or a 4, maybe a 6? I don't know. But Jamie, happy birthday. And I believe Glenn Henderson.
No,
Glenn, yeah, what was that? Oh, thought I heard
I,
somebody. Linda? Yes? No? Evelyn?
happy birthday, everybody.
Happy birthday! Right. So, and Glenn Henderson, and you know what? I know them because they're facilitators here, and I know there's been some banter about birthdays, and Glenn's going to be taking this week off from his networking magic. But I know we've got other birthdays too that are not in my face right now. Evelyn Melendez, whose birthday am I missing? Evelyn is, by the way, Evelyn Melendez, who runs our e-commerce work group now. She also runs our Facebook group, and she's got her finger on the pulse of like what's going on with everybody. Evelyn, you are an amazing networker and asset here in the group. Evelyn, whose birthday am I missing? Somebody.
Thank you. Well, Glenn and Jamie, for now, I have the schedule already to show up on their birthday.
See that? See that? She knows stuff, everybody. Evelyn, if you want to learn about, getting your social media technology in order, get with Evelyn. By the way, she's got a great program that she does for clients, right? You could actually be her client and get things set up in your business, logistics and stuff. She's really good with that. I'm not so good at that. I got a microphone, I got a mouth, put the two together, stuff happens. That's it. So anyway, I am glad to be here with everyone. We do have a full day. We have a full week. We've got some changes to our mastermind group schedule. General session isn't moving. It is right where it is, which is right now. And of course, we got our hospitality suite that is always happening. Then we've got our e-commerce work group with Evelyn, who you just met. And that's going to be at 3 p.m. Eastern on Mondays moving forward, 3 p.m. Eastern. We do have our book study tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern for Americans and Aussies and Brits who refuse to go to bed. That is happening at 9 p.m. Eastern. Today, we're talking about seek first to understand and to be understood, right? So we're in the 7 habits of highly effective people. We're on the 5th habit. So get excited about that. If you haven't caught up on your reading, go ahead and do that. We do have one other major change. And as many of you know, that Stuart, our Llama King friend, has taken some time to handle things in his own life. And so we've got an opening now on Tuesday in which we put metaphors for success. So Wayne Bradford, our king of all metaphors, is now going to be running at 9 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays. So 9 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays. That's, of course, after the 5 p.m. Eastern Corporate Curios with Ivier Barnabas. All right. I think, and of course, at 9 a.m. my time, 11 o'clock Eastern on Tuesdays. So that's tomorrow for me. We do have Nicola Black with our group meditation. So anyway, that's enough announcements for right now. Excuse me. Happy birthday. And what I was thinking about talking about today, Evelyn Smith, the other Evelyn who's here with us right now, brought up the idea of vibration and actual, electricity, that we are. If you ask, biologists and people who study such things, that we are like a biochemical, reactor, bioelectric, this and that. I actually did some work with a company back in the 1990s, way back in the 1900s, back when we were, looking at pterodactyls flying around and all that. I did some work with a company that manufactures Japanese magnetic products. So like insoles for your shoes and bed mattresses, with the to create the biomagnetic, space. And never got too deep into the science of it, but interesting stuff. And didn't make a whole lot of money on the business side of it, but the products, seem to really cause some benefits for people. And then I was thinking on the counter side to that, I know there's been a lot of controversy around 5G and what, waves, electrical waves, radio waves and such are going through our bodies, and does that affect health? And so there's a lot of arguments going on in the science space around that. I can tell you that, having just been through months of study in amateur radio, I think I mentioned a couple of days ago, I did get my examinations and aced them, and I'm licensed ham operator now. So yay for me. But these are non-ionizing waves. In other words, they don't cause a molecular change in the body. You could, create some heat with it, but it's not like, it's because, there's a radio, which you can hear right now. If you turned on a radio, there's radio waves in your midst right now, they're all around you. You're going to be fine. Okay. But there are certain frequencies that are more potentially damaging than others. So thinking about all this, bioelectric reactions and all this stuff, what part of that can I be responsible for? In fact, what can I do with that? And so the conversation before we went live here went in the direction of law of attraction and actually the frequencies we set up in our own body and mind, right? Because if you think about the reality of you being a triune being, right? You are spirit, you've got a mind, and you have a body, right? And without going too deep down that rabbit hole, you are the being that observes all that and operates all that. Via the mind, you operate the body. Great. So what vibration are we most chronically in? Here's the question that comes up for me. After all that talk, right? What vibration am I chronically in? Chronically meaning more often than not, right? So not the exception, but more of the chronic state. Where do I find myself if I'm willing to look, right? Part of being the observer is choosing to observe, right? So if I stop and I look, all right, how am I feeling right now? Usually we don't sit around and say to ourselves, oh, I am consciously aware that I am in a negative vibration at this moment, right? That's not a conversation we typically have. What we more typically might say is, oh, I don't feel so good, or I'm angry, or I'm upset, or I'm in fear, grief, enthusiasm, right? Conservatism, right? Boredom, monotony, antagonism, right? We got all these different emotional states which can correlate with frequencies, right? Just like the radio waves that are in where you are right now, right? So you turn on a radio and you tune into a frequency, pick one, right? And you can experience the reality of that frequency. Even though all the others are there, you only get to have one, the one that you tune into, the one that you're in harmonious vibration with, right? So it'd be a really good idea for us to understand what frequency we're walking around in most of the time, and thereby what we're attracting, right? If I don't like the music on the radio, I could change the frequency, right? So I'm listening to it's rap, right? I'm not into rap. I like metal. Well, let's find the metal station, right? Just change the frequency. So how do we do that? Well, the chapter that we're studying tonight, Seeking First to Understand, Then to Be Understood, right? Does that just work for other people? Of course, Steve Covey in his book is talking about interpersonal relationships and creating from the independent being, right? From the personally victorious being, creating public victories, interdependence, synergy. We're working together now. We're doing stuff, right, that I can't do alone. And we got problems in our life, which we can't tackle alone, right? Big problems, right? Societal problems, all this stuff. You can't do that alone, right? Problems that affect the group must be tackled by the group. Well, that means you're not alone anymore. Hopefully you're an asset to the group. And so when working with people, seeking first to understand and then to be understood, that means that we listen more than we speak, right? The old saying, we got two ears and one mouth, right? Say, for example, we're selling a product, right? So here's a customer. Well, what do they want? You damn well better know. I'll tell you what, the customer who is impossible to sell is the one who you don't know what they want. Right? Anyone who's been in sales for any period of time, that's the worst customer of all. They don't know what they want. Therefore, you can't know. If they don't know, you got no shot at knowing, right? If they can't communicate. So how do you understand that person and thereby serve them? It's really hard. I guess you can get lucky here and there. Even, a blind squirrel can eventually find a nut. But but you've got, we want to create order in all this, order in our body. And so I'm thinking, seek first to understand, then to be understood. Okay, so understand what? How do I set myself up in these vibrations? Have any of you had, and I know you have, a situation where it was negative, right? You didn't get your way. Has anyone not gotten their way? Ivier, you didn't get your way. Wah, right? I want my way. And so, oh, we're all still children, aren't we? I remember Jack Canfield, as a quick tangent, Jack Canfield, co-producer of the Chicken Soup for the Soul book series. He was giving a lecture. I was on the conference call with him, and he was saying how he originally started lecturing to, school children. And then some of the staff members were like, hey, can you come talk to us? We like your stuff, right? Talk to the faculty. And so he started lecturing adults, and he realized that they're all just still children. They're just 40 years old and dressed in business suits. Anyway, so the idea is we sometimes we don't get our way. And how do we electrically, vibrationally, how do we react to not getting our way? Negative, right? You fill in the blank with whatever the emotions are, disappointment, right? Sadness, whatever. I didn't get my way. Okay, it's going to happen in life. Newsflash, that's going to happen. And haven't we also, here's the thing that I'm going to offer that you relate to right now. Haven't we also, in hindsight, said, oh man, I'm so glad I didn't get my way there, because look at the advantages, look at the problems I don't have now, right? Again, having been in the sales space for as long as I have, I look at, the customer who bought from your competitor, right? Oh, they bought from my competitor. Oh, woe is me, right? And they're the most problematic customer ever. Oh, thank God. Yeah. Oh, you know what? My competitor's down the road. There's the door. Thank you. Thank you. Different vibration. So disappointment, right? Or whatever emotion, negative emotion and negative vibration we could set up from the experience of forgetting that we're bigger than this whole thing, right? We're the being, we're not our body, we're not even our mind, right? But failing to be the observer, in other words, getting down into the thick of it, right? And be getting emotionally involved. We've talked quite often about non-attachment, right? Okay, but getting attached and not getting our way, that produces a certain emotion. And we've all experienced that many, many, many times in life. And then in hindsight, because now we understand, now we get to see the bigger picture. Here's how that whole thing played out. And sometimes feeling, well, how fortuitous, how serendipitous, right? That we didn't experience getting our way at that time. Completely different vibration, different event. No. Different facts. No. Different circumstances. No. Different understanding. Yes. Different understanding. So seek first to understand. So this isn't just for interpersonal relationship, interpersonal relationships. It's for our relationship with ourself. Why am I reacting? Why am I reacting in this way to whatever the stimulus was? Remember in the first habit we talked about, or Covey talked about, be proactive, right? Habit 1, be proactive. So between stimulus and response, we have the ability to choose. And he used the example of Viktor Frankl, right, who went through Nazi death camps and all this, and came out and became successful and survived and all that. So meaning, right? It's all about what meaning do we add to the event, to the circumstance, and how much liberty do we have, or freedom in our own thinkingness and our own, setting ourselves on up our own frequency, right? How much control do we have of that? Now you can go seek out masters who, sit on a rock and Rome can be burning all around them and they can just be whistling Dixie, right? Or sitting there burning incense or something. You could do that. And I know some of us have, right? Some of us have traveled to the hills and, in the caves of India or whatever. And that's a nice reprieve and spiritual seeking. Okay. But the game happens on the field. The game happens in society. Your participation is required. So here we are, right? Nobody here right now is sitting on a hilltop in India who's on this webinar, right? This session, this broadcast, whatever the hell we call this. So yes, you're on the field, you're doing stuff. And that's where the action must happen. All opportunities come through other people, not sitting in the cave. Okay. So since we are opportunity seekers, success seekers, and because we are people who are in action, we're going to be interacting with other people. But the big question, as I've brought up again and again and again, is who's doing it? Who's doing this interaction? Do we understand that being ourselves? Do we understand ourselves to the point where we can actually change the frequency on our own beingness, our own mental state, our own chronic emotional state, to the point where when we show up in society, when we come down off the mountain, we can be effective and cause benefit to others because we of ourselves have brought value into the marketplace. So the question then is, for me, if I'm looking to understand, let's say a negative circumstance, and I'm looking to practice a bit of non-attachment and just observe that. And then between stimulus and response, I can choose, all right, who's going to choose? Who am I? And how can I show up as more valuable in my life and in the lives of others? Because I am proactive, because I've got the ability to understand that I don't understand, to know that I don't know. I don't know how this whole thing's going to play out. We've got a lot of situations like that in our lives, don't we? Does everyone have all the answers about everything that's going to happen? No. So we could just sit here and we could be a victim of that and be in a negative vibration, or we could say, well, what part of that can I be responsible for? In light of all that, in the face of all that, how can I show up as valuable in the marketplace? Now, what did the late Jim Rohn say? He said, if you want to increase your income, increase your value to the marketplace. So I've got to be more valuable now. And I've got to be in the marketplace, which we already established, right? So you're not doing this sitting on the mountaintop. Although my daughter and I did summit a mountain this weekend. It was great. If you're on Facebook, you can see the pictures. Small mountain, about 4,500 feet. Yeah, it was a great hike. And you know what? Here's the thing. At the base of that mountain, about 2,000 feet lower, right? And about 4 miles, we had a consideration about, can we get to the top in time? Because, we started late, sundown's coming and yada, yada, right? So we had thoughts about that. And we got to a point, talk about vibration, right? We got to a point about 1.8 miles up the trail, just where it was about to start getting harder, right? My daughter sat down, took a little break, and I introduced the idea of turning back or going for it, because we got a certain amount of time. We could either summit this mountain and do it like troopers, or we could be pathetic and turn back. And you know what she decided after a little bit of a rest, right? And the vibration. This is interesting for me to observe. I observe this. The vibration of, oh, my legs hurt, oh, my back and whatever, right? To, you know what, let's do it. She made a decision and her whole vibration changed. And we hit the summit like faster than I ever have. And she's 40 years younger than me. And we did it. She made a decision. I made a decision with her. And we did it. But the point is, the vibration changed. The frequency of the whole conversation changed. It was transformational. So can we do that deliberately in our own lives? If a young girl can do that, and we're talking about something, very simple in terms of the mechanism, right? Do we climb? Do we not climb? Do we use the body? Do we not use the body? We've got more subjective things that we're dealing with in life, right? Us grown-ups, supposed grown-ups. But can we be that decisive? So regardless of the terrain, regardless of the circumstances, the inclines, the switchbacks, the rocks, the wind, right, that we're about to face as we go up this mountain, besides all that, or in spite of all that, or with all that, can we decide how we're going to show up? We can. And it changes the vibration, and the quality of our action instantly changes. Doesn't mean we're not going to face problems. That just means we are going to face problems and we're going to get through them. The way out is the way through. And we got to that summit. So I'm thinking right now, rather than me talking, we can all relate to this in some aspects of life right now. We can all relate to the idea of being in the vibration that would actually receive more of what we want and less of what we don't. Isn't that what we're all talking about anyway? More of what we want and less of what we don't. If we've got some clarity on that, right? If we know what we want, unlike the customer who can't even tell me what they want, right? But if we are good customers of ourselves and we can say, this is what I want. I can tell you what I want. This year, I'm buying property. And I'm getting clearer and clearer. Just last night, we were doing some research on property. I'm buying property this year. I suspect it's going to be a good time to buy property this year. I don't have a crystal ball, but still, I'm putting myself in that expectant vibration. Like those radio waves are being transmitted and received. And something's going to happen. I don't know all the details yet, but something's going to happen. And there may be a property that I say, oh, that would be perfect, and somebody else buys it. You know what? How does that affect my vibration? How does that affect the frequency that I'm resonating in most of the time? Right? I'm sure we've seen that happen too, right? You've seen where you wanted something and somebody else got it. There's no lack of stuff in this universe. There's no lack of stuff. One of the books we definitely got to tackle, it's an easy book too, is The Science of Getting Rich. And Wallace Wattles talks about this, right? Don't think that, opportunity is limited. That is completely false. So anyway, I would love to hear what's going on with each of you who would like to share vibrationally, what's happening in your life, and how can you be more causative rather than just be the effect and, oh, I'm taking in all these radio waves I don't want. How can you be cause? That's really what this whole conversation is about, is being cause. Anyway, I love you guys. Virginia's got her hand up, so we're going to start with Virginia Pipitone, the queen of all Italian cookies. Hi, Virginia. Let's get you out here. Where's Virginia? Virginia is muted. Let's get Virginia. Oh, my darling.
I'm sorry, I
There she
lost
is.
the audio.
Yeah, there she
So let me
is.
take my hand down until I can figure out how I can hear you.
I
'cause
got your
can't hear
hand.
anybody.
Yeah, you're good. I hear you. You're good. You're live.
Yeah, you're like, so I don't know what
You're
change.
live,
I'm in
Virginia.
my car
Can you
and it was
hear us?
coming in clear and now it's not. I will figure it out and raise my hand
Virginia,
again.
Virginia, we can hear you. We can
You
hear
can
you.
hear me, but I can't hear you. You can look
Okay,
at my
we can
ear.
hear you. Yes.
Are you looking at a picture of my hair? Probably.
Now I'm seeing your hair. Yes. Yes.
Yes. I'm sorry. I'm in my car. I think you were coming in through my speaker and then it automatically turned off or something. Through my Bluetooth.
Unbelievable.
So anyway, you're not, I don't know if you're going to buy property, John, but I think you're going to buy a motorhome and go camping.
Well, we can get both, right?
Of course you can. Okay. And the other thing is, I just got out of my mammogram and ultrasound to rule out a reoccurrence of cancer. And I got a clear slate. And the cancer is not back that I had in 2014 because there were some symptoms that were concerning. And the whole time that I have been knowing this appointment was coming up, I wouldn't think about it. I wouldn't manifest it. I wouldn't draw it to me. I wasn't going to allow my brain to have any negativity at all in it. And I really felt that helped me a lot on there. And so, yeah, now I have this good news that I don't have to go down that road again. And so I just really, with the mindset of staying focused and positive and believing for the best outcome and not entertaining any negativity, I think, because sometimes I could feel myself wanting to go in that negative direction. And I just wouldn't let myself do it. So I just wanted to share that.
Congratulations, Virginia. We've got a bunch of people clapping for you virtually
Thank
here. Yes.
Thank
you. Yes. Well done. Beautiful. Great news. Great news.
Okay.
Yeah, there she is. We can see her now,
Thank
not
you.
just her hair.
And I'm going to mute off now because I can't hear you guys unless I put the phone to my ear. Thank you.
Okay. Very good. Thank you, Virginia. Let's go to Mr. Bill. How you doing, brother?
Hi, John. Hi, everybody. Good to be back. A good chat that you're talking about today. Good subject matter. Positivity. Raising your frequency is something that I've been doing this last couple of weeks since all the crap. And there's no doubt when you feel down and you emit that sort of frequency, there's more crap arrives at your door. So it's time to stop that crap. And I have been doing quite a bit, and just on the property front, I visualized everything and wrote it down. In regards to selling my mom's old house, which my brothers and I already owned anyway. We just made it rent free for her last few years. And I got a buyer who gave me a very low offer. I asked if he would be willing to throw in another couple of dollars, which he did. and I was so grateful. And he's a first-time buyer, so I said, "Okay, you can have the furniture in the house for free. It's a lot of it's brand new, but I don't need it." And I thought, as a first-time buyer, okay, you're good to go, kid. You can keep what you want, throw out what you want, swap what you want when you get the money. So he was obviously very grateful. In the interim, I've been purchasing an apartment for myself, and I've agreed on a lovely apartment, and it had some fantastic furniture inside. And I said to the woman that was selling it, it would be great, but I can't afford this sort of furniture by the looks of it, because it was pretty swish. And she just says, "Oh no, that's all in the price. You get everything." So I thought, wow, okay. So do a bit of good, get a good bit of good back. So yeah, things are on the up, certainly on the property front, and it's encouraging me to do a whole lot more. And I can tell you, anybody that has any doubts about visualizing or writing down your affirmations and keep repeating them, yeah, come and speak to me, because I can tell you, you have no reason to doubt anything. Thank you, John.
Oh, Bill, congratulations, man. Look at all these wins. Wins. So you said, you know what? Go ahead and take the furniture. What am I going to do? Move it out, and I'm going to sell it. I'm going to post it on you know what? Take the furniture. And then you show up at the place that you're acquiring, and you're like, "Oh, this is some really nice furniture. I don't know about the extra money for that." She's like, "Oh, it's on the house, Literally, you're right. It's in the
Literally,
house." So, wow, Bill, congratulations, my friend. And I'll tell you what, I may call you for some counsel, because I doubt this stuff all the time, right? Just because I hear it coming out of my mouth, what we teach, what we most need to learn, right? So I haven't arrived or anything. I doubt this stuff all the time. All the time. I'm in the thick of thin things, man. Life is happening to me. I'm dealing with stuff. I'm looking at my calendar today, Bill, and it's complete freaking overwhelm. It's total insanity. Unreasonable. Right?
John, can I say something that you
Please. Right.
you will relate to? Somebody asked me the other day, actually, regarding my present mental health state, which was previously pretty crap. And they says, "But look, you're so good at boosting everybody else." And I said, "Yeah, I'm very like a car mechanic. I can fix everybody else's car, bar my own." And I think you'll probably understand where I'm coming from regarding that.
Yeah. Well, I used to be a mechanic, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And, yeah. And the thing about mechanics, it's not that they can't fix their own car. They certainly could.
Yeah.
It's just that,
they do so much on everybody else's.
right.
you can transfer that into life in general. We come along and we help everybody else, but we don't help ourselves sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I guess the idea is you get good enough at doing other stuff, and you can pay people to do other stuff, right? So that, in fact, that's something that that Shannon, many of you know, my wife Shannon, my secret weapon. She is in the midst of preparing for a major launch in one of her businesses, and so she's got all this staff that she's hired, and like it's a major operation, and so. I look at that and I think, well, if she wasn't amazing at these couple of things right here, then she couldn't have the leverage of all this, staff and all these other things that come to be. So I'm thinking right now, for each of us, don't we feel good? And we don't have any other hands up right now. So if you want to talk, please raise your hand. Thank you again, Bill. Don't we feel good when we're doing our core competency, when we're in the flow, talking about raising our own vibration, right? Why do I harp on getting stuff done all the time? Because if I want better self-esteem, well, then I should do esteemable things, right? I should be in high integrity action. That's when I'm happiest. All right. So what do I know how to do? And what can I do right now to get something done, something productive, and check that off on my insanely busy calendar, right? So now I'm in high integrity action, doing something. I'm in the flow. I know how to do it. I am doing it. Now it's done. Yay me, right? That raises my vibration. And so I would argue that the basis of production or of morale, right, and esteem and all that is production, right? You produce something, you do good, you feel good, and then you feel good, you do good, right? That's the upward spiral. So if we're looking to get ourselves in a higher vibration, what one thing perhaps that we've been avoiding, I don't know, right? What one thing can I go and I can apply myself to and get it done? Oh, I feel good now, right? Even when I'm in the work, I'm feeling good because I'm moving. It's movement. We talked about order and movement last week, right? So high self-esteem, produce something, produce. You think about some of the most miserable people in the world sitting there playing video games or whatever they're doing, not producing anything. I think about some retirees that I know. They don't have a purpose except, what's for lunch, and then as soon as it's lunchtime, what's for dinner. That's it. Really, that's it. Miserable. Anyway, there's what not to do, right? That's part of being mentored, is observing what not to do. All right. Anybody else? We've got, who do we got? We got Ivier Barnabas. Hey, Ivier.
Hello, John. Hi, everyone. So this is, I don't even know if this is on track, but last week I was meant to go for a pre-op assessment on Wednesday, and I completely forgot about it. I think with everything else I had going on, I completely forgot. Between work, my mom, whatever. And so in a panic on Thursday morning, I called the hospital and I said, oh, I was supposed to be in there yesterday for XYZ, and the procedure is meant to be on Saturday. What do we do? Do I still come in on Saturday or don't I? And they were like, oh, hold on a second. And then, kept me on hold for a bit and came back and said, oh, because you're the last patient on Saturday, your pre-op isn't necessary. So we're just going to let the consultant know and still come in on Saturday as per normal, and we'll see you and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, okay. I mean, to be fair, I got 2 letters in one envelope, and I just didn't think that they'd put two letters in one envelope. So I never even saw the note about the pre-op assessment, blah, blah, blah. I wasn't focused on that. If I was, I probably think that I know that the outcome would have been a lot worse, because when I got in there on Saturday, the consultant took one look at me and said, how are you feeling? I said, I'm fine. I mean, everything's great. I've got no worries. I'm not in any pain or anything. And they were like, oh, okay. This is what we're going to do, blah, blah, blah. And this is just a follow-up from stuff we did in 2019 and early 2020. And it's just to make sure that everything's fine and blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, sure, let's go for it, right? So I went through all the questions, and then they put me under, only for me to come up after the procedure and come out of it. And the doctor was right by my bed. And I was like, this is strange. Okay, what's up, right? And she now rattled off a whole string of things that we went in and we found this and we saw that, and you're going to be on drugs and this and that. It was like a whole, and I thought, really? And she was like, yeah, I'm surprised you weren't in any pain. And I said, I just don't focus on stuff like that, because if I think like that, then it is going to be a reality and it's just going to get worse. And she was like, looked at me like, what planet was I on? And I said, well, I'm sorry, I just got too much on my plate, and I can't focus on things like that. So she was amazed that I didn't come in, in a wheelchair, or I didn't come in assisted, and I didn't come in pain. I said, no, I actually walked here, right? And she was like, what? And I was like, yeah, I did. So, having said all that, and she kind of said, oh, take it easy, just in case you don't feel well, blah, blah, blah. It's going to take a while to recover. Yesterday, I was out walking in the snow, because I thought to myself, that's it. I'm not going to stay in bed all day, bugger this, right? Yeah, I'm going to get better. It is what it is. They've done it. They found what it was. I wasn't in any pain. Yeah, the meds are going to come probably on Monday. That's fine. But I need to get out of here. I need air. I need time. And I just went out walking. And so I came back. Fine, I was tired after the walk. Got right back into bed. I don't know why I did. But today I was back at work. I mean, I logged on as normal. Handled my calls, did everything. And here I am on the general session. I just thought to myself, I can't afford to focus on, fine, stuff is not going right. Fine. The doctors picked it up. They put me on the drugs. They know what they're doing. I'm going to do what I need to do there, but I'm not going to let that stop me, because I just don't have the time to stop and focus on non-producing actions or thoughts or vibrations or whatever it is we want to call them. Right. Mm-hmm. So here I am today, probably shouldn't be doing this, but I'm sitting up, but I'm saying, you know what? It's another day. I'm here on this side and I'm just going to make the best of it. And I was speaking to my sister earlier and she was like, did you say you were in hospital on Saturday? I said, yes, I was. And she said, you were under? I said, yes, I was. And she's like, why are you sounding so chirpy? I said, well, it's a choice. I can either feel down in the dumps and I will feel worse if I go down that route, or I can say to myself, I will get better. I am getting better. With every breath I take, I'm getting stronger, and I can just roll with it, right? So much so that I've actually called up one of the realtors and I said, look, any chance we can see some of those properties tomorrow? I am still going for all those goals I've set for the year. Nothing is stopping me. I'm going for it. So Bill, to hear your story about the property, I'm expectant that when I see stuff, it's going to be what I have imagined in my head. And I'm going to walk out of there saying, this is the one I want, because I'm sorry, 2021 has to be different. 2021, everything I've written down, everything I pictured just has to be. It hasn't got a choice. And whatever is in my way, better just step aside, because I'm not sitting down. I'm not going to be held back. I'm going for it, right? What's the worst that can happen? Whatever it is, bring it on. But I'm going for it. I'm not stopping. Yeah. So that's kind of like where I'm at. So I don't know if it is in line with what you were saying today, but that's just my mindset right now. I just don't have the time to sit down and think about or wallow in self-pity or anything that's not going to serve me. Fine, I'm going to be sensible and I will rest. So I got into bed. I slept most of Saturday and I slept most of yesterday until I went for the walk. And then I came back and I think I overdid it and I slept, pretty early. So so that's
So you
me.
do sleep.
I do sleep, John. Yes, I do.
All right. PA has now publicly admitted that she sleeps. And look, I don't know what ailment this is, what labels they've given it, or what was on your chart. But I know you as Ivier, the bright, brilliant being and perfect health. And
thank you, John.
yeah. And every day in every way, I'm getting better and better, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So think about that, everyone. How many of you knew that Ivier was going into surgery on Saturday? I didn't, right? So, and others, I mean, you can go on Facebook and you could see people dramatizing and looking for sympathy. Oh, my problems, look at my problems, right? It reminds me of a story that I heard some years ago from a guy. This is a third party, all right? So I don't know the guy, okay? But there was this old guy and his wife, and they had some kids, and so the old guy was taking care of his wife, and they'd been doing this for years, and the kids thought, now's the time that the wife should go into the nursing home or whatever. And he's like, no, this will kill me, right? So it was kind of like his purpose to take care of his wife. And finally, the wife did go into the nursing home, and she died shortly thereafter. That anyway, this guy died right after that, right after this whole event, and autopsy revealed that every organ in his body was riddled with cancer. But while he was on purpose serving his wife, didn't even notice, but his whole body was wrecked. So, and that doesn't just happen in a month or two, right? So interesting. Again, I didn't see the charts, right? This is just a story that was relayed to me. So do with that what you will. All right. Where are we at? Anybody else want to talk? Commence talking, or we're going to wrap this baby up and we're going to get on with our day, which is huge. Any other talkers? Well, we do have, if you've updated Zoom recently, your reactions button has the raise hand feature. It's no longer under the participants. Why they had to move it, I don't know, but they did. All right. Anybody else before we wrap up for today? Last call, going once, going twice. We are done. All right. So I'm going to see everyone. I'll be with you on book study tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern. Remember, we do have e-commerce work group with Evelyn Melendez at 3 p.m. Eastern. So, and Evelyn has a post in the Facebook group if you got topics and whatever that you questions, right? So I know we got a lot of people engaged in e-commerce here. And so we're going to go ahead and, talk turkey on that. All right, my friends, thank you for starting your week with me here. I love being with my family here in the JLSM. So I'll see you guys again tonight. Make it a great